Sachas Nedarim Daf Mem is mostly Agadata talking about the mitzvah of Bikur Cholim, visiting and taking care of the sick. The Gemara will give a number of stories, halachos, and teach us about what the main part of Bikur Cholim is. At the end, we'll get to an unrelated statement in Hilchos Mikva'os. The Gemara begins the bottom of Daf Lamed Tes Amid Beis by relating that when Rav Chabal got sick, Rav Kahana went out and he called in the street. Rav Chabal was not doing well, and his point was to try to encourage people to come and visit him, but nobody came. So Rav Kahana said, "Don't you know about the story that happened with one of the Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva, who became sick, and the Chachamim did not come to visit him, but Rabbi Akiva himself went to visit this Talmud, and because he swept the floor and he settled the dust in the house, he recovered." So you see that he was really able to help him. And he said, "Rebbe, you restored me to life. Rebbe Hechisani." And Rabbi Akiva went out and he said a drush in the street, "Anybody who does not visit the sick, it is if he is killing him." When Rav Dimi came, he said, "Anybody who visits the sick is causing him to live. Anybody who does not visit the sick is causing him to die." The Gemara says, "What do you mean he's causing him to die?" The Gemara assumes that means that if you're visiting him, then obviously you're being mispalel for him, because you love him. And if you're not visiting him, you must hate him. So therefore, you must be praying for him to die. So the Gemara says, "You think it would go that far just because you don't visit the guy? That means you're actually going to daven for him to die." So the Gemara says, "No, what we mean to say is anyone who visits the sick causes him to live. One who does not visit the sick is not causing him to live because he's not davening for him. Because the main function, the main mitzvah of Bikur Cholim is the tefillah that one is inspired to say when he comes and he visits the sick. But he's not causing him, because he doesn't show up, he's not going to daven either way, so he's not going to cause him to live, nor is he going to cause him to die." Now, should one publicize this? Here we learned that Rav Kahana publicized that Rav Chabal was sick so that people would come to visit. Somewhere says that Rava used to tell his family on the first day that he became sick, he would say, "Don't reveal it to anybody, because that may change the mazel that I have. Whatever mazel that I had, it may change if people are aware of it, could create an ayin hara or whatever it is." The Gemara says, but from after the first day, if he didn't recover within the first day, he said, "Go and shout it in the shuk, let everybody know, and it'll help me in two ways. Somebody who is my friend, who likes me, is going to daven for me. Somebody who hates me is going to be happy. That'll also cause me to heal, because we have a pasuk in Mishnah that says, "Benefala yivcha al tismach v'kashlei al yogol libecha." Don't be happy when your enemy has downfall, because that's going to cause his downfall to be reversed. So if people will be happy because if those who don't like me will be happy because I'm sick, that'll cause my sickness to be reversed, and therefore it's a good strategy either way. Now the Gemara says further, Rav says anybody who visits the sick is saved from Medina Shel Gehenim, is saved from punishment in Gehenim. Where do you see that? Because it says Asher Maskil El Dol B'Yom Ra'im Alteyu. Maskil is someone who takes care of. The dol refers to sick. Where do you see that? The Gemara brings two psukim. One is Midala Yivatzeni, from sickness he will heal me. So the word Dala there means a sickness. The second one, it says V'yom le'madua ata kocha dal ben hamelech ba'boiker. There it also means sick. So you see the word dal means sick. Now what is it? Ra? Ra refers to Gehenim, like it says Kol Pa'al Hashem L'Maneu. The evil people are headed to the day of Ra. So Asher Maskil El Dol B'Yom Ra Yimalteyu means somebody who takes care of the sick will be saved from Ra, will be saved from Gehenim. Next, the Gemara says, what is the reward that's given to somebody who visits the sick? The Gemara says, what do you mean? We just said the reward is that he's saved from Gehenna. The Gemara says, no, what's the reward in this world? So the Gemara says a number of things based on a pasuk in Tehillim, Hashem yishmereyu v'yichayeyu v'hushar ba'aretz v'al titneyu b'nefesh oivav. So what does all this mean? So Hashem yichayeyu, Hashem yishmereyu means he'll be saved from the Yetzer Hara. Yichayeyu means he'll be saved from suffering, from Yisur. And Osher ba'aretz means that everybody will be honored through him. Al titnehu b'nefesh oivav, he won't be given over to the soul of his enemies, means he will have good friends who will help him, like Naaman was healed from his taras through his friends. The Navi relates that Naaman was told by the Navi Elisha to go into the Yarden to heal his taras. He refused because he said that that's simple advice, and his servants and his friends came to him and said, if the Navi would have said to do something nutty, you would have been happy to do it, so certainly you should do it if he tells you to do something easy. And because of those friends, he listened and he was healed. Now the end of the pasuk where it says V'al Yizdam Lo Re'im, that he won't have evil friends, he won't have bad friends, those like the friends of Rechavam, king of Yehuda, that led him astray and caused him to lose most of his kingdom. The Gemara brings a brisa which Shimon ben Elazar says, if the young guys tell you to build and the old guys tell you to destroy, listen to the old guys, even though building is usually better than destroying. If the old ones tell you to destroy, the destruction of the old is a form of construction. They know what they're talking about. And the building of the young is going to end up being destructive. And you can remember that because Rechavam will listen to the young friends of his, and that caused his malchus to be destroyed. Now, the Gemara quotes from Shisha, a brother of Edie, who says that a person should not visit the sick the first 3 hours of the day or the last 3 hours of the day. Why? Because the point of visiting the sick is to inspire tefillah. First 3 hours of the day, the sickness is always lighter, and therefore he'll look at him and he'll say, oh, he doesn't need my tefillah, he's fine. The last 3 hours of the days, it's very severe, and therefore he'll be mi'ayish and say, it's too much, there's no point in my tefillah. So therefore, it's better to visit any other time besides the first 3 hours and the last 3. Now, Ravin, name of Rav, says, Hadina that Kadosh Baruch Hu feeds and takes care of the sick, like it says, Hashem Yisadenu al Eretz Tevai. Hashem visits and takes care of those who are on the sick bed. Ravin also says, name of Rav, where do you know that the Shechina actually rests upon the bed of the sick, like it says, Hashem Yisadenu al Eretz Tevai. Yisadenu there means visits. Hashem is visiting the sick bed. We have a brisa that says this as a halacha: somebody who visits the sick should not sit on the bed, he should not sit on a chair or the bench near the bed, but he should sit on the floor and wrap himself in a talus because he's in the presence of the Shechina, which rests at the head of the bed of the sick. Again, like it says, Hashem Yisadenu al Eretz Tevai. Now, we just quoted 2 things from Rav in the name of Rav. Now the Gemara quotes a totally unrelated halacha from Rav in the name of Rav, and that is about mikvahs. The halacha with a mikvah is that you can only use mikvah water which is still and not moving if it's rainwater. If you're going to use moving water, it has to be coming from a fountain, from a spring deep in the ground. Now, the question is, what about rivers? Rivers usually flow out of springs. The question is, when it fills with snowmelt or with rain, then that snowmelt and rain can't be moving. So in a river, it would be non-kosher to use that water. So what happens when the water level in a river rises? So that risen part would seem to be snowmelt or rain, and it should be possible because it's moving. So the question is, when the water level rises, is that because of rain, or is that because there's increased flow from the springs? So the Gemara says it's actually a machlokes. The Gemara quotes Rav in the name of Rav, who says when it rains in the west, you could tell because the water level of the Pras River in Iraq goes up. So therefore, he's clearly saying that the rising of the river is caused by the rain flowing down the mountains into the water, and therefore you could not use it because it's flowing water and it's rainwater. Flowing rainwater is no good. Now that disagrees with Shmuel, because Shmuel says that when a river rises, it's because there's a greater flow coming out of its rock, coming out of the spring. So Shmuel therefore should hold that you are allowed to do tefillah in a mikvah even though it's flowing water, because it's not rainwater, it's spring water. Shmuel, however, has a halacha which actually disagrees with what he himself here said. The Shmuel said you cannot use flowing water that's in a river except in the month of Tishrei, because at that point all the snowmelt and all the rain has dried and flowed downstream, and you don't have to worry about any of that being in the water. Any other time you shouldn't use a river because you should be afraid that there's rain and snowmelt in there. Similarly, Shmuel's father held this halacha when he taught his own daughters how to do tefillah in the mikvah. He would not let them use a mikvah. He would not let them use the river during the month of Nisan, and therefore he made them mikvahs of standing water so that they wouldn't use the flowing water because it's rainwater. However, in the month of Tishrei, when there was no rainwater in the rivers, he encouraged them to use the river, and he would even put mats on the floor so they shouldn't get mud, or put mats for privacy so that they would be able to do tefillah in secret.